Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. I wanted to do a review and swatches on the Master Palette by Mario, who he did a collaboration with Anastasia of Beverly Hills. And I wanted to do this because, first of all, I have seen this going around so much, probably more than any other product that has come out recently. And, you know, I want to do, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Is it really as good as they say? And I also, I know that this is still available on Macy's, and I've seen it in Sephora stores. So if you're worried, if you thought like, oh, it's sold out, I can't get it anymore, so it doesn't even matter, you can still get this. I just got it in a week ago, and I saw it this weekend, all weekend actually, in different Sephoras. So this is still out. So just a little background on Mario. If you didn't know, Mario is Makeup by Mario on Instagram. He does celeb makeup. He's very young. I think he's either in his late 20s or early 30s. He's most well known for doing the Kardashian and the Jenners makeup, most notably Kim Kardashian. I believe he grew up in Brooklyn, somewhere in New York. He is a son of immigrants, and he really was just, you know, your average worker. He was working at Sephora, I believe, in the perfume department, and people loved, you know, his makeup techniques and tips, and he worked his way up from there. And, you know, even if you don't like the Kardashians or the Jenners or however you feel about them, there's no mistaking that he is truly talented and inspiring and has really made a name for himself, and he really did it on his own. So I think that, you know, you don't need to act like, oh, you know, I hate the Kardashians or I hate the Jenners. You know, support the man and how far he's come in his dreams and aspirations. So this is the palette, and I figured I would do an honest review and swatches and tell you how I really feel about it. So stay tuned. The first thing is I really wasn't going to buy this, but seeing all the positive reviews on it and it literally non-stop being in my face, and I was seeing positive reviews by everyone, every YouTuber, every Instagrammer, whether they were fair, whether they were deep toned, like everyone, I didn't hear a bad thing said about this palette. So I finally decided to pick it up. This is what it looks like. Look at that, ooh, pretty light. So this is the box it comes in, and I have been using this every day for a week or over a week. So this is the packaging, and the packaging on the palette is the same as the box. And here it is. Now the inside looks like this, and you have your sheet, which I kept. I was trying to keep all the stuff I could. The palette, so sorry about the light. Let me take off the mirror protector if I can. Oh my goodness. Wow, this is... So that mirror protector might be stuck on it forever, which is fine. To be honest, I never use palette mirrors all that much. I'm just not one of those people. It does come with a brush, and I'll get into that in a second, but here are the shades. You can definitely see I've been using it. You can definitely also tell which ones I love a lot, which ones I haven't used all that much. But there are 6 earthy, muted jewel tone shades, I would say, to describe them. There are 3 mattes, which are right here. And then the rest are, I wouldn't even say shimmer, I would say a satin. There's a sheen to them, but there's no glitter, there's no real shimmer in it. It's just beautiful satins. And so the brush, I'll start with the brush. I've been hearing mixed reviews. Some people say they love it, some people say they hate it. It is a little bit different than some of the other brushes that they make. Usually this is a little bit fluffier, and I believe this is a little bit stiffer, but I just know it's a little bit different, and I'm sure Mario, you know, designed it. I will say that their other brushes have never shed on me, but this end, the first day I used it, shed 2 hairs, but after that and never shed again. And I honestly like the brushes that come in the Anastasia kits. I think that they're well made, you know, they don't have to put this in, and they're better than many brushes out there. I mean, I'm going to say they're average. They're not low or amazing, but they're definitely workable and they do the job. So I would say, you know, keep the brush. Don't just chuck it out. So there it is. Okay, so a little bit more about the colors. Now, they are very, very buttery, very blendable, very pigmented. You don't need to pick up a lot on your brush. Do not do that. I will say that I haven't gotten any fallout either. It blends very fast. I can honestly do a full eye in about 2-3 minutes, like both eyes all together, done. Blending is so quick. They're so buttery. They're so pigmented. They're not, it's not where it's pigmented and then you can't work with it. No, these are truly wonderful, and I would not lie to you. I will say though that there are a couple things that I wish that were different. There are 2 shades that aren't as pigmented as the others, and mind you, they're still beautiful, but they're not as pigmented, and so it's not a huge drawback. It's not like they're bad. They don't skip. They're not patchy. They're just not as pigmented as they look in the palette. All the other ones are absolutely perfection. And besides that, the only other thing is that they don't have like a light, you know, shade in here. There's no, whether it's a shimmer or a matte, there is no bright kind of white pale shade, which especially for us fair tone folks, it can be harder to highlight the inner corner. I have to pull out a highlighter or another palette to do that. And that is kind of a drawback for me, but it hasn't stopped me from using it and loving it. That's just me. For a lot of people, you know, maybe that gold shade is light enough. Don't get confused by this. This is not a bright white. This is more of a medium tone, jewel tone pink. It's not like, you know, as bright as like my face. Not as white, as pale, essentially. It is just a kind of muted medium pink tone. But these are really, really, really beautiful. They blend. They are easily in the top 3 most blendable shades. I would put these right up there with Kat Von D powders and also Marc Jacobs. These are the top 3. This is by far the best Anastasia palette ever made. I would choose this over the Modern Renaissance palette any day. I like that palette, but I think that this is much more diverse. At first I was like, I don't need neutrals. I have so many neutrals. I don't need it, but I'm a makeup collector. I love it. I'm an obsessor, and so obviously I was going to probably end up getting this anyway. But these are very earthy and very muted, which makes them a little bit different than your everyday kind of neutral palette. What else can I say about this? Oh, all the colors go together. You could put this color, with this orange, with that, and your look is going to be great. It doesn't matter. It's foolproof. You could put 2 shades on, you could put all 12, and somehow it will look good. It's perfect for work people in the morning, just because it is so quick. And you don't have to sit there and think about, what do I want to put in my crease? Do I want to deepen this up in the outer corner? What am I going to use here? Whatever you're feeling is going to work out for you. So I will say that is a plus. I just wish the 2 shades that I'll show later were a little bit more pigmented. And I also wish there was a brighter color for the inner corner and under the brow. But let's get into swatches, okay? So I am just going to go from the top row to the bottom row, just in order. And I'll explain them as I go. So Hollywood is like a medium orange gold shade. And so I will go ahead and put it right here. Now this is one of them that I do think is, and I am so pale, guys, it might be hard to see some of these shades, but this is one of the colors that I find just isn't as wow as the rest of them. It's beautiful. It's still buttery. It's soft. It's not patchy at all. But I'm just not getting as much pigment as I would like from it. The next color is a nice deep, deep, deep burgundy satin. It's called NYC. And here is NYC. And it looks more burgundy in the palette, but it comes off more as a burgundy brown. But it is much more pigmented, as you can see, than Hollywood. Next up is the shade Kim. And this is kind of like a rose champagne shade. Satin. Super blendable. And, you know, I do got to commend him for naming these things personal. He is Marina, which might be his mom, Claudia, who is a person of Anastasia, Beverly Hills, Bronx, Fifth Avenue, which I think is in NYC, Hollywood, Kim, Paris. So this is all stuff that has meaning to him, which I think is great. Okay, this is Kim. And that is, again, just a beautiful rose champagne color. Next up is Muse, which is one of my favorites. It is a beautiful, just pure rose medium shimmer shade. And so, here is that. And it is one of the most pigmented shades in the palette. And it really is so gorgeous. Okay, next up is Marina, and this is like just a classic champagne shade. And that is also one of my favorites. It is so perfect for the lid. It really is like the perfect champagne medium pink tone shade. Next up is Claudia, and I've been seeing different things about this. So a lot of people think that it looks gray. Some people think it looks black. Personally, I think Claudia looks blue in the palette. Now that is just me. That's this shade right here. But I think it's blue in the palette, or at least a blue-gray. And this is one of the shades that also disappointed me. So it's just, I was hoping for like this beautiful, deep, you know, smoky blue color, and it's just not pigmented like the others, you know. Look at all these beautiful shades, and then this one's just kind of lacking, but it stands out so much to me in the palette, which is so depressing. Okay, next up is the 3 mattes. So the first one is kind of like a neutral to cool tone medium gray. This is called Lula. And the mattes really are great in here. So there is Lula. Next up is Isabel. And this one I know is very popular. A lot of people love that warm tone for the crease, especially during fall. And guys, these are just, you know, one swipe of my finger. This is Violetta, which is a more deep matte brown with just a hint of kind of a redwood, like almost like a red brown, but mostly brown with just a hint of red. And there is that. These are so gorgeous and buttery. Next up is Fifth Avenue, and this is going to be like a true, true gold. I mean, really. So I don't know if you can see Hollywood up here, but it is like a yellow-orange gold, but this is like a true, true gold. Like if you're going to take a block of gold and just put it in a mill until it is fine, that is that shade right there. Next is Bronx, which is a beautiful olive shade. There is that, which is perfect for the fall. Love that shade for the fall. I just love olive and emerald right now. I think they're great. And next up is Paris, which is a taupey, cool toned. It's neutral, but it definitely leans more cool tone. I would say it's like Lula, the matte, cool tone, kind of brown shade, but in satin form. So this is cool toned taupe. And this is the last one, and this is called Paris. And so those are all the shades right there. Again, Hollywood was a little bit of a bummer to me, and Claudia, the one that was supposed to come off blue or a deep smoky blue. But the rest are absolutely stunning. Hope that you enjoyed my review and swatches of the palette. Am I going to say, that you need this palette? If you are just your everyday, you know, gal, which there's nothing wrong with that. I go to work 8 to 5 every day. That's okay. If you're not a big makeup collector, if you aren't obsessed with the makeup industry, if you don't like having a big collection, I would say you don't need this. If you have a neutral palette and one palette with pops of color, then that's perfectly fine. If you're missing a neutral palette, if you like the jewel tone shades, if you need something for fall, I would say definitely pick this up. It is worth every penny. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not worth it. I'm just going to say that you don't have to have it. It's not, you know, a concealer that doesn't crease. It's not, you know, this... I mean, you don't need any kind of makeup technically. You know, you could do you, but it's not... If you already have a neutral palette, it's not going to be a staple. If you don't have a neutral palette, then pick it up. If you need something with kind of earthy jewel tone colors, pick this up. If you love the makeup industry and obsess over it and really, really love it, then go ahead and pick this up. I'm not going to say you have to have it. I think that it's great. You've heard my couple of things that I find wrong about it, but they're not wrong enough for me to dislike the palette in any way. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that, you know, to you this came across as an honest, you know, review, because, you know, that's what I'm here for. I'm not gonna lie to you guys about a product. A lot of people, you know, say every shade in this is perfect. I'm gonna say 2 of them aren't so great. You know, they're not horrendous. There's worse out there, but they're not like the others, and the others are amazing. So I hope that this was helpful. If it was, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see me do more reviews of palettes that are coming out, or if you want to see me do a tutorial with this, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Let me know if you've tried this out, if you like it, if you hate it. If you also have had a problem with Claudia and the shade Hollywood, I would love to know that I'm not the only one who is not a fan of those shades. But anyways, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye. Look at my swatches and hands.